Now we're going to send it down to Brendan Parker and Cory Sarich for tonight's Flames TV postgame show, presented by Original 16.
All right, welcome inside our Flames TV Live postgame show. It is brought to you by Original 16. Brendan Parker alongside Cory Sarich as we break down a 5-4 Calgary Flames victory in their regular season home finale. And as we now know, it is now the final home game of the season for the Calgary Flames. They get no help on the out-of-town scoreboard. They obviously come back, get the victory here, but on a night where you end up finding a way to come back again and win in overtime or in a shootout, it still feels like a loss on this night, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You needed some help, and you just didn't get it. There's a lot of close games by other teams down this stretch, but the Flames, unfortunately, were relying on other teams to get the job done, and those teams just were of absolutely no help. So really, still a great effort here tonight by the Calgary Flames. Maybe not the first period that they wanted, but as they've shown a lot of times this year, even without a great start, they just continue to build, they believe, and they just continue to press throughout the game. And they ended up getting it done in the third period tonight.
Yeah, and maybe before we go through the highlights, let's show you the out-of-town scoreboard, because in the end, we knew heading into the third period that they had been officially eliminated. And the reason why is because Minnesota and St. Louis both playing their 82nd game of the season, their regular season finales. They were both on home ice, and the Calgary Flames needed just one. They needed one loss, one game to go their way in order to have a chance to continue their season on Thursday night in Los Angeles, and there you see the result. And the unfortunate part about the Minnesota one specifically was that Anaheim had the lead late in the third period. Minnesota tied it with about 18 seconds left, and that 1 point, even though they end up winning that game, ended up clinching their spot in the postseason. So St. Louis grabs the final spot. They'll head to Winnipeg. Minnesota finishes in wild card 1, and they will play the team that we just saw here tonight in the Vegas Golden Knights. But I'd imagine that everybody coming into the second intermission, you're trailing in the game, which this Calgary Flames team has found ways to win hockey games. That wasn't the problem. But as you come into the locker room and then find out, likely at that point, that things were officially over. How does, I think we saw didn't change the approach in the third period, but I would imagine it takes a bit of the bite out of the room. Yeah,
it's pretty disheartening as an athlete when you finally realize that your season is over. You're still going to get out there and you're going to put on a great show and battle as hard as you can, because that's what you're paid to do. And the Calgary Flames, it's in their DNA. And the one thing that has grown here this year inside this locker room is culture. And this team has a no-quit attitude. It has a real belief in itself. And I think these guys are genuinely really like each other. And I think Ryan Huska did a really nice job this year of giving these guys a game plan that they could be successful with if they stuck to. And most nights they executed quite well. So it doesn't surprise me that the Calgary Flames come out, are given her in the third period. Got some great saves by Dustin Wolf, and right to the bitter end. Made a couple of beauties there in the shootout as well.
Well, let's show you the highlights here tonight. And, I think in some ways this game sort of typifies the entire season for the Flames. It's just a team that would never go away, always competitive, and found ways to, scratch and claw, both in games and then obviously throughout the course of this season. And here's how they had to fight their way back. They give up the first one yet again, and they talked a lot about starts, but this goal originally, I think, was credited to Saad, but it goes to Dorofeev here.
Yeah, and you had earlier, just before this, you had Sharon Govich with an opportunity with an empty net. He hits a post. This squeaker goes in the net. And then, you know what? I feel like it just caused the Calgary Flames in the first period to have to press. And it's not easy in these kind of do-or-die games to find that balance. And then all of a sudden when you get behind, I just thought that the Calgary Flames, they did have some nice opportunities up the ice, but they kind of gave up a little bit too much defensively and found themselves behind the 8 ball after this period.
That despite the fact they did get the game-tying goal thanks to that shot from Morgan Frost, which snaps a long goalless drought. Actually thought he had it snapped in San Jose. It was credited to Jonathan Huberdeau, but that's his third as a Flame right there.
Yeah, it's nice puck movement. It didn't take long on this. That was the very start of this power play. Mackenzie Weegar jumps into the middle, moves it over to Frost, and he squeezes one through the 5-hole. Samsonov.
14 on the year for Frost, 1-1 at that point, but here's where we were discussing that they would have to play from behind, and it's because of a couple of quick ones from the Vegas Golden Knights to end the period. This one on the breakaway and a little breakdown. Nice finish there from Nicholas Wall.
And again, in the neutral zone, we'll see right here, maybe Jake Bean doesn't have to press on the boards here. Kadri's a little late on his back check, but those are just reads and things because the Flames are trying to apply a little pressure, trying to keep this, like Ryan Huska said, a three-quarter ice game where you hem the other team in to try to apply that pressure. And really nice finish by Roy.
So from there, it would be Thomas Hertl that ends just a little bit more to the deficit for the Calgary Flames heading into the intermission. Nice little feed in front, and Wolfie's unable to track that one through the 5-hole.
And there was a few really great passes and plays by the Vegas Golden Knights. They found guys in tight spots and they put pucks on each other's tape, and this was another example of that. And Thomas Hertl knows how to score goals, that's for sure.
Yeah, no question about that. 32 on the year and a 3-1 lead. There was no scoring in the second period, so now we get to the comeback here in the third, and it starts with a power play goal of their own, and Nazem Kadri for him, a new career high, his third 30-goal campaign, and that one is his 33rd of the year.
And he just kind of keeps ticking along, even though the Flames at this point know that their season has come to an end. Nazem Kadri, I mean, how many times this year did he come up with some big comeback goals? And he was a real spark for this team all year long.
Then not long after that, it was Mikael Backlund, and you can hear the goal call in the background. 2 goals in 1 minute and 4 seconds to start the third period, and we got ourselves a tie hockey game. 3-3 as Backlund continues to press offensively.
Yeah, really nice pass here. Good patience by Mikael Backlund. Throws one towards the net, and probably one that Samsonov wants back, but I think the Calgary Flames were owed this one from the first one that Vegas got tonight.
Yep, no question. And then there would be the response right after that, as Vegas Golden Knights would come right back, but there you see Adam Klapka finishing off a nice little dish at the far end of the ice. This one actually would make it 4-3, and Klapka just going right back to the net where he's found some success.
Yeah, he's been a real bright spot here, even towards the end of this season. He was a 4th liner, get promoted up here to the 1st line, and he's done a really great job. And he's provided them a lot of different sparks at different times throughout the course of this push down the stretch.
Here's the response 11 seconds later, and Brandon Saad, you see it right from the opening face-off, right from center ice all the way down, and maybe a little delay, a little hesitation. They would look at this afterwards, and it was confirmed to be a good goal, and it's confirmed to be Brandon Saad's good goal. For him, his 13th and a 3-point game, and we're all tied up at 4.
He is a bit of a thorn in the side tonight.
Yeah, no question about it. So no scoring in the overtime. A couple of big saves at both ends, a couple of missed opportunities, and Morgan Frost gets the game winner right here.
Yeah, beauty move. What did you call it, the Kirkland?
Yeah, looked very similar. Maybe a little less pace, but you know, another perfectly placed shot in the low part of the net coming across. Left to right. Looked very Kirkland-like, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a fitting way to leave and get another cheer out of the fans. Yep. And that's it for the home games this year.
That's it. One last game coming up in Los Angeles, coming up on Thursday. Let's get some reaction. Let's hear from Nazem Kadri. As we said, new career high in goals, but you can be sure that he won't be satisfied with that result here tonight.
Tough evening all around us. I guess if you could just kind of bring us inside this room, and maybe if you can get words on just the overall emotion that the group is feeling.
Yeah, you could probably guess, you know, but no, just one of those things. Felt like we've been rolling, playing some good hockey. Just unfortunately, you know, couldn't get any help.
What was the second intermission like when you did find out your fate?
Yeah, it's you know, it's emotional, and you try not to get down on yourself or down on the team, but you know, we come out and we score 2 goals in 10 seconds. So that just sums up, you know, what kind of group we have, and you know, just felt like over the last few weeks we just couldn't get a break in the out of town stuff. But you know, certainly proud of how we've been playing.
Does it make it sting more that you guys did exceed so many expectations and stuck in it this long and no one expected you to?
Yeah, it's cool, but you know how I feel about that. So you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's a privilege to play playoff hockey. You want to play playoff hockey, and that's the goal.
You may have touched on it just a moment ago, but how would you describe this team?
Just character guys, good group of guys. We could have been out of this thing a month ago, but shows just the pesky attitude. And like I mentioned, I felt like if we could have squeaked in, might have been something there, because we've had a lot of momentum, and we've played some great hockey against some great hockey teams, and stings obviously with how the Minnesota game ends. It was that game, right? Tied it up late. Yeah. After a great save, I heard. So, just stuff like that sucks.
How'd you get motivated to go out there in the third period after dealing with the news you got?
It's pride. We're all professionals in here at the end of the day. It would have been easy just to pack it in, but we don't do that around here.
Can you just talk also about the ovation you got at the end from the fans?
Yeah, it's nice to see them, acknowledge and appreciate, and they've, especially the last home stretch. I could feel the energy in the building. The dome was rocking. You could always tell right from the American anthem. What kind of night it's going to be in the dome. So, they brought the energy, and we were reciprocated. We played some good hockey. We got some wins, but unfortunately, winning wasn't good enough.
How do you guys kind of be there for one another then Nazem during a heartbreaking moment here?
Yeah, it's emotional. You feel for the older guys, right? It's that's really what it comes down to. I'm sure the young players are going to have long careers and be doing this a while, but it's the older guys you kind of feel for. But that being said, we got lots to be proud of. Played some incredible hockey this year. We still got one left, so we got to show up. I guess. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Just quickly, and we're going to hear more from the room here in a second, but just to pick up on that thought, I believe the word he used was pride. Emphatically that you've been eliminated going into the third period where you're trailing 3-1. It says a lot about this group of not only the type of period we saw, but just the way that they played that final frame, understanding their fate had already been sealed.
Yeah, and I thought he did a really great job of describing it too, Nazem. Like, you just get out there. They are professionals, and you got lots to play for, and they shouldn't hang their heads. I mean, they did their job tonight. They just didn't get help. Maybe wasn't the prettiest at times, but it was effective, and that's what this team has been throughout a lot of portions of this season. They've had to gut out wins. They've had to come back for wins, and again, resiliency. This group's full of it.
Speaks a little bit to that culture you were talking about, something that they really started to build here throughout the course of this season. And one of the big guys at the front of that would have been the captain, and Mikael Backlund. He gets a goal here tonight. Let's hear from Bax now, postgame.
Maybe start by trying to describe what you're feeling right
now. Just a lot of emotions right now. It's just hard. We fought really hard all season long, and to fall short at the end, it's hard.
Yeah. How emotional was it at the end when the fans are basically thanking you for giving them probably a lot more than they bargained for?
Yeah, no, it was a special moment, and they've cheered us on all year and been so good to us all year. So we're very thankful they've been right behind us, supporting us all year, and that was an emotional moment.
That second intermission had to have been tough. What prompted or what spun off the start of the third period with the two quick goals?
I don't know. We just said, we were gonna go out and play for each other. It wasn't easy, but we said we'd go out and play for each other and for the fans, and just try and get another Flames comeback to finish off at home ice here.
Michael, you've been in this locker room a long time. A lot of teams, a lot of teammates. Where would this team rank? I know you would love to have been into the postseason, but I get the sense, too, that this was a special group.
Yeah, for sure. Came in the year, no one believed in us, but we believed in ourselves from day one, starting training camp, and right away get sense that everyone was buying in and was believing, and when everyone buys in and believes, you can achieve some big things, and unfortunately we didn't make it to playoffs. but we battled all the way till the end, and we were so resilient all year, and that says a lot about this group. We were playing for each other all year.
Michael Naz just said you sort of feel the worst on nights like this for the older guys. The young guys will get a bunch more opportunities. Knowing, you're the oldest guy here, how do you sort of personally digest not getting a playoff crack this year?
It just happened, so it's kind of feeling a lot of emotions right now, and just really hard right now. So a lot better answer maybe in a few days without being rude here.
How agonizing is it, Michael, considering the way you finished the season? That feels like you couldn't have really done much more, win after win after comeback win.
Yeah, no, we, I was so proud of the guys watching when I was hurt there, the way they played in New York and find a way to have some tough games against Colorado and Toronto and find a way to bounce back and have a big road trip that set us up for the last push. And every time we lost in overtime or lost the game, we found a way to bounce back the next game and win that, not one. So, very proud of the guys, the way they play and all year and especially at the end of the year.
Do you feel like, despite the fact that you guys fell short of the playoffs and there were so many people writing you off before the season even began, do you feel like you proved those people wrong?
Yeah, no, for sure. We proved a lot of people wrong. But our goal is to make playoffs, so right now it's just disappointing, sad, upset. But once you get some time maybe to think about it a little more, and we did a lot of good things. So like I said before, I'm really proud of the group, how they stay resilient all year.
Thanks, bud.
Just to follow up on the point that they talked about the hockey down the stretch, 10-2-3 in the last 15 games. We were talking about just doing the math, and you don't get much help on the out-of-town scoreboard, but hard to do much more than that in terms of putting yourself in the best possible position. I know you can always look at a point here and a point there, but 10-2-3 kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, that generally, when you're playing, you always talk about probably you got to win 70% of your games, like in these pushes to get in.
Yeah.
And they well exceeded that.
Sure.
But again, you just don't. And I keep going to say
straight.
it. Yeah, that 12 straight. If it's 10 straight, if it's 8 straight by St. Louis, the Calgary Flames probably have a different fate. But they got hot at the right time, and that St. Louis Blues team is kind of reminiscent of the team that won. They got hot, they squeaked in an 8th spot, and they might do some damage.
It's interesting because they get the President's Trophy winner right off the bat, so sets up a real intriguing first-round matchup. All right, let's go back inside one last time. We'll hear from another one of the leaders in the locker room. We've heard from Kadri, Backlund, and now here's defenseman Mackenzie Weegar.
It's still raw, still fresh, and still painful. How do you kind of summarize the emotion inside this room after tonight?
I'm sure everybody was saying, it's sad, disappointing, whatnot. But for me, it was what a hell of a fight, like with all the ups and downs this year, you look back and you kind of, I kind of saw the Jumbotron there, and when they said thank you to the fans and the memories that go back, and it's such a grind all year long, and it's a hard league to win in. And this group came together at the beginning of the year right away, and I'm proud of this group. The perseverance and the leadership from everybody, the belief, everybody bought in, and it says a lot. Everybody came to work for one another this year, and I think that's the most important thing. So credit to this team, man. We really did fight with all we had. Credit to St. Louis. I mean, they went on a run that I don't think anybody expected. So, it would have been nice to get a little help in some areas, but I just look back and love this group of guys. It's a special group. It's just too bad we couldn't see the damage we could have done in the playoffs.
Mackenzie, what was that second intermission like when you did find out your fate?
I guess some guys, it is what it is. You're out, so you're kind of thinking about, I guess that it's over. But I think right after that, we stuck to who we are, and we said, let's do it for ourselves, let's do it for each other, and let's do it for the fans, let's give them one more comeback, why not? So we did that, and it's just been a hell of a fight. So
who spoke up?
Everybody does. Everybody chips in. There's no singular guys, but everybody.
Mackenzie, how rare is it in this business that on the night you get eliminated, everyone wants to talk about how proud they are of the group, as opposed, like the disappointments there and stuff, but how rare is it that pride has sort of risen above everything for this group?
It just says a lot about the culture and the identity here. I think for next year, it kind of sets us up to have higher standards and higher expectations now. You know, when expectations were low, we proved people wrong. We did the right thing, and you know, nobody thought we could have done this year. Well, next year, people know that we can do this. So next year, I'm assuming the expectations and the standards are going to be higher. So that's what I want here. I want the high expectations. I want people to think that we're going to be in playoffs. You know, it gets everybody in the belief again, and you know. It obviously is sad and disappointing, but there's a lot of good things that happened this year, and we took a lot of steps forward.
So what did you think of the ovation the fans gave you at the
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the intelligent fans. You know, they know how hard we worked for them this year, and they gave us the standing ovation, and they gave us, you know, a second one that went a little longer. So the appreciation from them and from us, it's just, you know, we feel it from them, and I guess we proved to them that, you know, it goes both ways, and, you know, we respect their passion, and we show up for them every day to, you know, work hard and get this team to where they want it to be. So, you know, we appreciate that long ovation.
Is it hard to believe that the way you finished the season wasn't good enough?
In a way, you know, that's why I'm saying for next year the expectations are going to be higher, and, you know, if we're in this situation next year, it'll be a little bit more disappointing, you know. So, you know, at the end of the day, it is not good enough because we want playoffs, and we couldn't get it done when it needed to get done. So there is still a little bit of disappointment for sure, but there's still, I think, just how close the group is and how proud everyone is, it just overshadows that part right now.
You guys will go to the coach.
Thanks, Weeks.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Cheers to another season of great times and great taste. Celebrate things done well. Original 16, official beer sponsor of the Calgary Flames. Must be legal drinking age.
All right, Flames Postgame Live is presented by Original 16. Brendan Parker alongside Cory Sarich for the final time this season here on Scotiabank Saddledome Ice. The Calgary Flames get the victory 5-4, but as we mentioned, feels like a loss as they were officially eliminated from the postseason. Some excellent stuff there from Mackenzie Weegar, as he so often does, finds the right words in all the tough moments and the good ones, and tonight happens to be one of those tough moments. But if we can, just for a second, talk a little bit about the goaltender, because 8 straight starts to finish, 11 of the last 12. They turned to him in the biggest moments of the year, and you know, this is a guy that, you know, seemed to deliver on all fronts this season. What do you make of what you got from Dustin Wolf in his rookie campaign?
Well, there were all the question marks at the start of the year, like there have been in his other past leagues that he's moved through and excelled in. Is he big enough? Is he going to be the guy that he's touted to be? And he was exactly that, and he quieted any doubters early, and he just progressively got better. And you know, you don't win in this league without good goaltending. And for the Flames to have gathered as many points as they have this year, a lot of it falls on this young guy, and he's just an unbelievable professional. There was rarely a night where he wasn't prepared. I mean, you could probably count him on 3 fingers.
Yep.
And he was just rock solid for the Calgary Flames all year. So super impressive performance. And if you're probably picking an MVP, he's your candidate.
Yep, no question about it. And, you know, helped get them into the position that they were in to have a chance at it. And even though it doesn't work out their way, as we talked about, maybe didn't catch some of the breaks or the out-of-town scores. 53 starts on the season, the most ever in franchise history by a rookie netminder, passing somebody named Mike Vernon. Happens to be a Hall of Famer, and his number hangs into the rafters. So, you know, that alone says the faith that the coaching staff and the players had in Dustin Wolf this season. And, man, did he bring it every single night. Impressive. All right, let's hear from – actually, just before we do that, I was going to mention, because Weegar talked about let's give the fans one last comeback. That's 10 comeback wins going into the third period when trailing by 1 or more, which is the second most in franchise history as well. So, you know, knowing this team, maybe they have one more in them on Thursday. I'm sure they'd love to play with the lead, but hasn't always been the case here this season. All right, let's hear from the head coach now. Here's Ryan Huska.
I'm disappointed and a little bit sad for the players. Like they worked hard over the course of the year to get themselves to this spot, and I felt like they probably deserve better than where they're going to end up being.
There's the team fought all season. I mean, Mackenzie Weegar said that's what he appreciated at this moment. There's something to the fact that you guys knew you were eliminated at second intermission and went out and fought for that win tonight as well.
Yeah, they're all year long a very proud, I guess you can call them, a resilient group, whatever you want. They always felt like they could win games no matter what the situation was, so why change, I guess, is probably the mentality that they came out in the third period with and found a way.
Ryan, 15 games ago, if you told the group you go 15, you go 10, 2, and 3, that should be good enough, would you have thought that would have been good enough?
Yeah. Like we had markers that we felt we had to get to in order to make ourselves into the playoffs. And I think you have to give a lot of credit to St. Louis too. Like not a lot of teams go on the run that they went on to get themselves into the playoffs. And I think if they wouldn't have had that type of run, well, we're probably where we want to be right now. So unfortunately, on our side, teams were winning. If we're on the other side where, they haven't had quite the same success that our conference has had with the teams trying to push to get into the playoffs, again, it would have been a different story, but that's the way it goes.
I haven't been in too many locker rooms last night since the teams got eliminated, and sort of the prevailing talk is about how proud they are of what they've accomplished. Yeah, there's disappointment there, but how sort of proud they are of the group. Is that how these guys sort of deserve to be feeling after the season they had?
Yeah. I mean, they've come a long way. I think they really have. Like, you always you want a little bit of a foundation for you to always come back year after year after year, and I think they've established a bit of that now, where they know there's a certain way they have to play, and I think in time there's always going to be corrections and adjustments that we can work to make our team better. But what they were able to do this year in regards to creating a bit of a reputation for our team or an identity as to how we play every night, that is a great place to start with, where I think is now in place. And these players deserve a lot of credit for that.
The leaders talked about how that kind of happened pretty early in the season. How were they able to get that kind of come together so quickly and keep it for the rest of the year?
I've talked lots about them. I think it was the 6 of them. They got together early in the year, the guys that we rotated letters on. And I think they made a choice or a decision that they were going to make sure they were at their best and they were going to pull people with them. If you have your key people a little bit broken and going in different directions, it will never work. And we had those 6 of those guys, and I'll throw Ryan Lomberg in there as well. They were always together, no matter what. There was a little bit of headbutting from time to time, but that's what good teams have. But there was never one guy, no, we're going to do it this way. It was always the 6 of them together. And I think that brought our room along very quickly.
What would you make of the send-off the fans gave them at the end of the game?
It was really nice. I said at the beginning of the year, the people in Calgary, they want to see hard work. They really do. And, they appreciated, I think, what the guys did all year. So it's just unfortunate that we're not able to keep going.
Okay, thank you. So no practice?
Well, we've talked about it. Husk talked about it. But, if not for that run from St. Louis, as Husk said, you're probably in the right position or the position you want to be. But if they do win on Thursday in Los Angeles, that gives them 96 points, which would tie them with a couple of other teams. I think a 4-way tie for the most points collected without making the playoffs at 96 points. So the last team would have been in 2018-2019, the Montreal Canadiens. So it just shows you pretty impressive feat. Obviously on the wrong side of it, but that's the situation they're in.
Yeah. No, go right ahead.
Well, I was just going to, transfer that, knowing that, obviously you still got one more left, and that's on the road, and you've had these, 2 young guys here watching and getting some experts, or basically an opportunity to see what it's like in these high leverage moments and seeing how the preparation looks. And maybe as a one last game, one last opportunity, they get a chance to get in some action here.
Yeah, it's a good observation by you. They're in here, and this is you're in the pressure cooker, right?
Yeah.
So you can look and you can see how guys in your position for Zane Perek, see how Mackenzie Weegar prepares, see what he's doing on a day-to-day basis. Just get a feel for what the dressing room is like, things that need to be said, the video that's watched, just all the other aspects of preparation. And you've got 2 young guys in here. You've got Suniev, you've got Perek. This organization is extremely excited about them. And so I think you're right. I think we'll get a chance to see them. There's been, around Calgary, there's been a rumbling to see, especially when it comes to Perek, to see him on the ice. We were talking earlier, they wanted him out there as early as tonight, which to me is ludicrous. Right? You're fighting for a spot. It's not the time or the place. You want to set these kids up for success. And you want them to be comfortable in the situation they go in. And I think now is the perfect time to get them a game.
Yeah, ironically, still haven't. Suniev, I guess, kind of had one, but really, Perek's been up here, but hasn't had a chance to have a full practice yet. So a few morning skates in there, and obviously a lot of spectating going on as well. And now maybe his opportunity will arrive.
He still might not get a practice tomorrow.
No, probably, actually, most likely not. At least not a full practice.
Yeah.
I think that's probably fair to say. All right, thanks for doing it this year. We appreciate all the time on the desk, and
thanks for having me.
All the insight.
It was fun.
It was fun. It was a heck of a year. This was one hell of a team to watch all year long, and I know that we enjoyed many of those comeback nights. We enjoyed many nights inside the Scotiabank Saddledome, and we still have one more game to watch this team go to work, but it's on the road Thursday night in Los Angeles against the Kings, who have already clinched their home ice advantage against the Edmonton Oilers in their first round series matchup. But one more to go. Down in California, it's the makeup game from earlier this season. Thanks for watching Flames Postgame Live all season long here, presented by Original 16. It's been a lot of fun having you along for the ride. Can't wait to have you back next season. One more game to go on Thursday. For all of us here at Flames TV, thanks for watching. We'll see you next season.